Hello and welcome. My name is Steve, and this is a beginner video, super beginner video for anybody who has just purchased any of the products from Focusrite. I've just recently purchased the Scarlett 2i2 Generation 2, and I have installed the hardware and the software on my desktop, and I'm getting ready to do it on my music laptop for obviously for mobility purposes, and everything's fresh in my mind. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now that this seems like it would be an intuitive process, but because this piece of equipment ships with so much bundled software, it's a little intimidating and a little hard to figure out what's what. You've got a couple options in terms of what software you want to run. For example, this one, it has access to both Ableton Live and Pro Tools. For my purposes here, I'm going to be skipping Ableton and I'm going to be installing Pro Tools and then incorporating a lot of these plugins into Pro Tools, and that's going to be my primary focus. Now, the reason for this video is because all of this stuff, it took me a couple hours to figure all this stuff out. So I figure if I can make a video that's a few minutes long and save you a few hours of watching all the videos and all that kind of stuff on the website, hopefully I can help some people out. I too am a beginner. I'm figuring all this stuff out myself, but like I said, I just ran through it, so hopefully I can save you some time. First things first, take your Focusrite. You've got a red cable. You're going to want to plug the USB into the back of the Focusrite. It's pretty self-explanatory where it's going to go. It's pretty much kind of, well, you'll figure it out. There's a little USB symbol back there. The other end of the USB cord is obviously going to be going into your laptop or your desktop. So let's get started here. First thing you want to do is go to Focusrite.com, and you're going to want to create an account. So up here, there's the little dude. You click on the little dude, and I have already created an account. So you're going to obviously want to go to create an account. You click on that. I am not going to bore you to tears filling in all the stupid little fields. That's for you to do. I trust that you can read and fill in forms. That piece is pretty self-explanatory. When you do that, you will probably come back and see something to the tune of this. It'll say welcome your name and all this kind of stuff right here. So the first thing, if you don't have a serial number and a bundle code right here, you're going to want to register your product. So go ahead and click on that. So the first thing you want to do is you want to choose your brand, hit the down arrow. I've got a Focusrite, next down arrow. So me personally, I've got a Scarlett 2i2 second gen. I believe the third gen is out now. It should say on your box. But just go ahead, go under current and pick whichever one is yours. And then you hit submit. You will end up back at this page right here. And essentially where I'm at is I'm at customer.focusrite.com/my-hardware if you're having a hard time finding this page. So basically what we've got to do first is we've got to install the drivers for the piece of hardware. Make sure your piece of hardware, that red cable, is logged into the back of your Focusrite product and also plugged into your computer, and you're going to want to go, and the first thing you're going to do is go and click on drivers. If you've got a Mac, there's no driver required. If you've got Windows, you just click on the second download. If you click on the first download, that's the release notes. If you click on the second download, it goes pow, and I'm running, what am I running here? Chrome. So Chrome is going to pop up down here on the bottom left-hand corner, and what's it doing? Is it downloading? Yeah, it's done downloading already. I'm going to click on it, and I'm just going to follow the directions. Yes. Next. Boom. 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 And it installs. Okay, so once the drivers install, basically the window just goes away. It doesn't really tell you much. That's one of the confusing things that I couldn't really figure out. There was, at least when I did it, there was no indication whatsoever that the drivers had installed properly or anything like that. But at some point, I just decided to just give up on it and move forward, and everything worked fine. So I was able to also see that I had the most up-to-date drivers installed. Another thing that was ambiguous to me is that if you're on Focusrite.com and you go to interfaces, there's a drop down for software, and if you click on it, you get these kind of pieces of software, and all that stuff looks really cool and all that kind of stuff, but it's a little confusing because if you're on this page, on your welcome page and you go to My Software, actually everything looks a little bit different. And it's just kind of confusing. But the question is, where in the world do I start? If you make the mistake of starting at the top with this red plugin suite, you're going to download the red plugin suite and you're going to get very, very confused because you're not going to be able to find anything. And the reason why you're not going to be able to find anything is because you have to choose either Ableton Live or Pro Tools and actually install that software. And this red is a plugin for that software. So you really can't use this until you've installed that, if that makes sense. So check this out. Here's another thing that tripped me up. I'm on a page called Software. I didn't know, I'm at least know that I need to get my Pro Tools downloaded first. So it says Discover Pro Tools. I click on this and then I'm looking for a download button. Here's download it now. But if I go to Discover Scarlett, I just have an opportunity to find out more stuff about Scarlett. Okay. All right. Go back, press on the other button, go to your account, and I'm back on this page. So that tripped me up as well. So what I want to share with you before you end up in an endless loop like I did is you'll figure out that Pro Tools is by a company called Avid. And if you go to avid.com, you can go straight to this page right here and you can create an account. Now, I don't see the button for create an account because I've already created an account. So I've got a button for sign in here. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is you go to avid.com and you're going to want to create an account. And then once you've done that, once you've filled out all those forms, come back to avid.com and you'll have an opportunity to sign in. Okay, if you did not see a button for create an account, go to this URL right here, my.avid.com/account/orientation. Don't forget the question mark, web source equals Avid. And this is orientation, and here you've got an opportunity to create a master account. Now for me, I already have an account that was actually also accessible right here in the sign in. I can click on that, and that's essentially what I want you to do. You get to the same page. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And once I do, once you create your account, you're going to end up back here. Okay, so the question is, how in the world do I get my Pro Tools? And for the Pro Tools, I figured out that you've got to go to My Software and you've actually got to go to this page right here. And somewhere down at the bottom, which doesn't make sense to me, I would have it at the top, is the Pro Tools First Creative Pack. And it says Get Pro Tools First. So this is actually going to take us to the Avid website when we click here to redeem. And it's going to have your redemption code and everything like that, and it's going to go to your products. And it just kind of continues, you continue to go down this whole rabbit hole of different pieces of software and what's what. So what I'm just going to say is go to My Products, go to Pro Tools First, and click on that. And then, again, not intuitive, it took me a couple seconds to figure it out, but if you go ahead and hit show, you get a whole bunch of software pieces right here. Okay? So now, Pro Tools First, it's like the fifth one from the bottom for Windows. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this. I'm going to start here. And this is a big file. It's 2.7 gigabytes. I've got pretty fast internet, and it looks like it's going to take 15 minutes to download. Okay, so I'll come back when that's downloaded. Okay, so once the file downloads, it's probably going to end up in your downloads folder. I've already moved it into a special folder called music. This is the zip file, which means we need to basically unzip the zip file. I have moved mine from my downloads folder to a folder that I've labeled music. It's no big deal. You can do it straight from the download folder. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, and you probably have some unzipping software, WinZip or something like that, that's native to chips with Windows. Mine is 7-zip. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to extract here, and it's going to put them in a folder. This is going to take a couple minutes, so I'll go ahead and speed up the film. So as soon as the extraction process is finished, you'll have a new folder called Pro Tools First. Double click on that, and you have the friendly little setup button. Double click on him, and here we go. I think English is a good choice. Go ahead and hit install. All right, so after a few minutes, this window popped up right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and click next. I'm going to accept the terms because I've read them all very, very thoroughly. And I'm going to hit next. And install. Okay, so several minutes later, we are presented with this finished button. We're going to go ahead and click it. It wants us to restart our computer, which means I got to shut everything down, which is wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so once Pro Tools installs on your computer, you're going to see two icons on your desktop, the iLok License Manager and Pro Tools First. And what I want to do is I want to take each step in a linear process. If you click on the iLok License Manager, it's just going to confuse you. So let's go ahead and click on Pro Tools First and see what we see. It'll give you a dialog box as to which one you want to open. I've already got a couple of them in here. You might end up, you'll probably end up at a page that looks like this where you can create one from a template. I just selected rock, and that's where essentially this one came from. So opening up rock, and boom, we're in. So this is Pro Tools right here. And if you're wondering to yourself, hey Steve, yeah, that wasn't really difficult. Why are you making this thing to seem so difficult? The reason why it's difficult, don't forget you got a window behind the window. The reason why it's difficult is because we don't have any of that other stuff yet. All of that other stuff that's bundled in our Focusrite package, none of it is here. And if we try to go and select a plugin, we don't really have any plugins. And we've got kind of the basic stuff that ships with Pro Tools First, but we really don't have very much to choose from at all. So what I did wrong was I started at the top. I started here and started downloading all this stuff before I ever even got to Pro Tools, which is all the way down at the bottom. That was a significant amount of confusion for me. However, if you load Pro Tools first and you understand the fact that all of these are plugins, it's kind of like a no duh. But this video is intended for the absolute beginner who may be a musician but isn't necessarily a computer guru. And for those of us who are not computer gurus, this is not really that intuitive. So it's like, well, what do you do from here? Where do I go from here? What do I do? But let's go ahead and move forward with getting some of this other cool stuff that we can incorporate into our Pro Tools. And here's the Softube time and tone bundle. Obviously, I've blurred out my code here, but this is really just a link, and I'm going to click on the link. And essentially what I'm going to need to do, which I've already done because remember I've done this on my desktop, is it's going to take you to softube.com and it's going to have your license information there so that you can create an account. So what I want you to do is I want you to basically, I'm seeing sign in here because I've already got an account. You'll probably see something along the lines of create an account. So create an account and then sign in. You can go to my account and now we've got all this cool stuff here. Got a saturation knob, all these other things right here. Tube delay, full license to all this stuff. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and click on the download button for Windows. So I just clicked here. It's an executable, so let me click on it. And I have read all of this ad nauseum and memorized it when I did my desktop. So I'm going to say I agree. And here we go. We got a new icon called Softube Central. Looks like a window's getting ready to pop up here. Here's that iLok licensing component thing again. So I'm going to go ahead and say install. And I read this one too. Memorized it. I agree with it. Go ahead and say next. Go ahead and let it put it. It's putting it in Steinberg VST plugins, which is good. That's default. Let's go ahead and install. And we'll say finish. We're ready to start using Softube Central. We're going to hit start. So let's go to the not installed. And there they are. Go ahead and install all these guys. All right, so all of them installed successfully. Let's go back to my Focusrite. Go to my downloads. Go to my software. Come down to the Softube stuff. There's my bundle. There's my number. This time I'm gonna highlight it, and I'm gonna copy it. And I'm blurring it out because obviously I don't want everybody in the world using it who sees it on YouTube. I'm gonna come back over here, and I'm gonna pop it in, and I'm gonna register it. Okay, so once all of them have indicated that they're installed, I'm going to go over to this little happy face here. It says you've got 2 license activations available for the product. Click on that. Oh, you can actually click on activate. And this is the laptop that I'm on, so I'm going to say activate. And boom, icon changes. Let's go to this one, say activate. All right, so now we should be able to log back into our Pro Tools, and we should be able to see some of these Softube items in our list of plugins. Okay, so now the difference is that when we go down here and we try to incorporate one of those new plugins, we can actually search for the plugin. And let's see, one of them was called TSAR, T-S-A-R, and boom, there it is. There's reverb right there. One of them was called Tube something or another. Tube. So there's the tube delay, stereo, tube delay mono. And basically those plugins are now part of our plugin library, and they are there for our use whenever we see fit. And one of the things that we can do is we can get a bunch of, let's do some easy ones. All right, so some of the easy ones are the ones that are native to Avid. So if we go to Avid and we log in to our Avid, check this out. We can get a bunch of easy ones. Let's go to Pro Tools first. And we can go to product and download links. And let's see what we've got here. So let's go ahead and grab the Sci-Fi installer. And it's a zip file that's loading down there. Let's come down and grab the 11 Lite installer for Windows. Let's grab Intune 12.0. Let's get the 11 Effects bundle for Windows. Not sure what this one is right here, but let's go ahead and grab this one too. And as you can see, these are all zip files. And let's go ahead and start with Sci-Fi. We'll click on it and accept the terms and say next and say install. All right, so now if we come back over here and we look for some of the things that we just typed in, what do? We did Sci-Fi. So there's Sci-Fi right there, the top one. How about Intune? Here's Intune. Okay, so we've just installed those 2 plugins that have the word 11 in it, and let's go ahead and search, and we'll find it right here. ELE 11. Hey, check it out. It's not there. Uh-oh. Major problem. We've installed the plugin, but yet we can't find it here in the plugin repository. This is a problem that plagued me for hours, looking and reading and researching, and let me go ahead and just try to save you some time right now. The reason why I just installed the 11 plugins and they're not here, I'm pretty certain, is because I had Pro Tools open when I did the installation of those particular plugins. So let me go ahead and kill Pro Tools completely. Just make sure that it's not loaded at all. It is not. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my downloads folder, and here's this Avid 11 Light and Avid 11 Effects. So let me just click on Light, and I'm going to reinstall it. I'm reinstalling it, and this time Pro Tools is not on my computer. And it's good. And I hit finish. And now I'm going to relaunch Pro Tools. We come down here and we hit search. And when we come down here and hit search, there's 11 Light right there. And there's our amp. This is a really cool plugin, by the way. This really gives you some serious distortion to your guitar sound. So there's 11 Light. And that little trick right there saved me, I don't know how many hours of frustration not being able to find my plugins once I installed them. All right, so if we go back to downloads, and we go to my software, and we kind of go back down to the bottom. All right, we've got that one. We've got that one. Let's go ahead and do the red, get the red plugin suite. Make a notation of this right here, but I'm going to hide it so that click to redeem. Now it says red plugin suite right here. Go to software. There it is. Make sure you don't download it for Mac. Make sure you download it for Windows. Select download. It's an executable file. It's already ready for us. We'll click on it and say next and agree because we do. Next. Notice where it's putting it. It's putting in VST plugins. And I'm not exactly sure which ones of these I want, so I'm just going to go ahead and include all of them. We come back in here, we go like this, we search. There's our red 2 and our red 3. All right, so once again, use the activation code, and now this is ready. We're going to take a look at what all of this stuff does in future videos, but obviously there's just gazillions and gazillions of things that you can do with Pro Tools. So we'll go ahead and kill this one here. There's the red 2. Search for the red 3. The compressor. And we don't even need to we don't need to do anything for that one. We now have access to both of them. So we're just kind of moving along the list here. All right, so working from the bottom, we've got Pro Tools. We now have Softube. We've got the red plug-in. Let's see what we got here. Create drum loops and backing tracks. All right, so I'm back in my downloads folder, and I've got this latest download right here, which I'm going to go ahead and extract right here. All right, so the extraction is getting ready to wind down here, and it is huge. It looks like there's several thousand things in there. There they all are. Okay, so there's probably a better way to do this than I'm getting ready to do right now, but if I go to File and then I go Import, I'm actually in the folder. I can actually go to, say, the blues keys, click on that. Let's do it in A, and let's go ahead and select it, and boom, and it creates a track and it puts it right there. So, and then you can go ahead and listen to it there. So that's one way to do it. All right, so as we continue, we've got some Focusrite drum tracks. Let's go ahead and grab these. Click to redeem. It's a zip file. We'll go ahead and show all. This is very similar to what we just had. We're going to unzip it. Go ahead and take all of these guys right here. Highlight them, drop them in the drum pack. And then we can access those the exact same way that we accessed the other loops as well. So we now have several gigs worth of samples that we can get from the loop masters and the drum tracks. And if we go into Pro Tools and we go to Window, Soundbase, there is a neat methodology for which to be able to find those samples easily and basically divide and segregate this stuff in whatever methodology you see fit. Now right now I don't have any of this stuff done. I just put everything in the user, or I put everything in my, let's see, on the desktop in music. Here's the drum stuff. So I can go to the drum stuff, go further down, go into heavy, and just sample the stuff. That's playing through the limited speakers of the laptop. And then, of course, if I go to Loop Masters, here's the Loop Masters, all that Loop Master stuff. I mean, just find something. So there's all the samples. And obviously, you can do with them whatever you choose to do with them, and categorize them and organize them however you see fit. So pretty neat little thing here. All right, so we've got the drum tracks. This right here, the B station, is not supported with Pro Tools. Ableton is a different piece of software that is another DAW like Pro Tools. Come back in. Okay, now we're getting further up towards the page. We've got this Audiority stuff. This Audiority is actually for a 50% coupon on any individual and a 15% coupon on the bundles, but they don't have any free stuff here. So if I move up one more, all right, so it looks like in this particular one, this is an offering for 2 free pedals, including a distortion pedal. So let's go ahead and redeem this. So it looks like I need to go to a website. And I'm going to go ahead and fill out all this information, and you can fill out the information too, and I'll see you at the login. Okay, so once you fill out the form, you'll get an email. When you click on the email, you'll actually end up on their website. Here's their homepage right here. Log in, and then you're going to end up going to user area. And then after you go to user area, you go to redeem. And it says enter your redeem code. Now you got to remember, you got to go back to your Focusrite. You got to go back to Focus. You got to go back to your Focusrite My Software page, and here's your redemption code right here. Well, this one's mine. It's grayed out so that everybody doesn't use it. And I'm going to go back to audio, and it says insert your redemption code here. We'll go ahead and paste it in. I'm going to go ahead and submit. So it looks like I'm going to get a couple cool pedals here. And I went to my plugins. And it looks like I got, here they are right here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Win installer. Looks like it's zipped. I'm going to grab the distortion pedal. And there's both of them. They're both zipped files. So I want to go ahead and show all. And I'm going to actually go into the folder. And I'm going to unzip them here. So there's one, and we have to remember that we've got to do the other one as well. We made the decision to start all the way down at the bottom and start downloading this stuff, working our way up, and we're actually at the very, very top of the list right now, which the only thing that's left is this XLN Audio Addictive keys, and we can redeem our codes. Here's my code right here. I just click on it. Okay, so the first things first, we're going to get to the XLN Audio website, and you're going to have to register. I've already done that, so you'll go ahead and select register. I'm going to go ahead and log in because I've already done the registration portion, and after you finish that, I'll meet you on the login. And so here we go. And then, of course, you can go to My Account. You can view your account. First thing that you're going to want to do is from My Account, you're going to want to register your product key, which is going to take you to the screen right here, and just cut and paste that in. Now, So I'm going to go to install. And we've got to download a installer. And it's a zip file. So when I have a zip file, I definitely want to go to show all. This is in Chrome. And then I want to open up the folder, because this is dumped it into my downloads. And then from my downloads, I want to right click and extract here. And here's the installer, XLN. And I'm going to be installing it for 64 bits. I'm going to double click on that. So now there's the whole create account. You got to create an account with XLN as well. Obviously just click on create account and follow the prompts for that. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And once you log in, you'll see this screen say good to go. And here we go. So when I logged into XLN Audio and I hit my register product, looks like I've got XLN Cloud Sync, Addictive Keys, Addictive Drums, something called Fairfax, and it says click to install 5. So, and it's 2 gigs of space. So let's go ahead and click. All right, says it installed 5 products. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. Everything looks like it's up to date. Looks like there's other things that I can add as well. All right, so now that we've got the Addictive Drums and Addictive Keys, let's go hit the Start menu. Go ahead and fire up Addictive Drums. There they are right there. And once they fire up, go over here and click on Beats, and we can basically test beats just by double clicking on them and hitting the play button. Now these are coming through the earphones, so I'm going to go ahead and put the earphones by the microphone and see if those will play at all. Let me see if I can turn it up a little bit. There we go. And essentially what I'm going to do with these is, once I find one that I like, move it over. I can drag it right here. Boom. And there it is. So obviously there's a million more things that you could do with both of these pieces of software. But I'm a beginner myself and need to get a little bit more up to date on them before I even make any attempt whatsoever to try to demo them for you, which I probably won't do for a while. The primary crux of this video is installation only, and basically trying to guide you through the perils of installing things in the wrong order, installing them and not being able to find them, and to the most basic of all basic concepts, knowing what each and every single one of these things does and how essentially you can use it. So I am going to be spending a lot of time in Pro Tools, auditioning all of this different software, be checking out all the guitar pedals and seeing what I like and how I can incorporate them into my music and sharing with you as I take the journey. But for now, I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, was basically getting all of the software loaded so that you can use it. All right, so for those of you who are paying close attention, you will realize at this point that I glossed over the iLok. The reason for that is because if you get into iLok early, there's nothing to look at in iLok, and it's just essentially confusing. But I've waited till the end. When I log into iLok, it has all my activations. And it basically is just kind of a nice way of keeping track of what software I have, whether it's activated or not, and what machines it's on, because these licenses, they vary in terms of how many machines that you can put them on. So this is kind of a nice, neat way of tracking licenses. And I would also imagine that if there was an unauthorized use of one of your licenses, it would probably pop up on here as well. So that's essentially what iLok does. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That is every piece of software that ships with a Focusrite, and we got everything installed, and we can keep track of everything. Obviously, it's a much longer journey to learn how to use all the various and sundry pieces of software for our own personal benefit. I'll be getting into all of that at some point obviously I need to get a good control on the software itself before I would ever try to go and demo it for anybody else. All right, that's pretty much it for me. Hopefully this video is beneficial to you, saved you from some of the trials, tribulations, and pitfalls that I landed in as I was trying to do all of this stuff. I think I mentioned a couple of times that it took me a couple of hours to do all this stuff. Now looking back on it, I think it took me a lot of hours to do all of this stuff. So that's pretty much it. I'm Steve. Please like, subscribe, comment. And to you people out there who have been using this software for a long period of time, if there's a glaring error, if there's something that could be done easier than the way I did it, please feel free to speak up in the comments. Otherwise, I am looking forward to generating much more video content as it pertains to digital recording of music, music in general, and everything music related. So stick around. I'm Steve. See you later.